welcome to the Houston YMCA. My name is Dave Vincent alongside David Fink for this men's playoff match for the 5th through 8th place, I should say. We have Anthony Selestow going up against Peixoto, and here is that first serve, Dave.
Well, Dave, Anthony Selestow, the teen heartthrob, Dave, has been the Cinderella story, but the Cinderella story has ended twice now in this event, but yet he's still on the webcast. How do you explain that?
Well, he does have a chance to get 5th place, which is something you have done, I believe, twice on the tour this year, or on the tour in the last year and this year as well, maybe 2 or 3 times. And that is kind of a prestigious thing to get. Earlier today, John Bike defeated Chip Morales in the playoffs.
John Bike will be playing Abraham Montillo for 9th place, but here we're in the first round of the 5th through 8th playoffs. Andy Nett already into the finals of this playoff by virtue of a forfeit win, so he'll be awaiting the winner. That will be on the webcast later this afternoon, I believe, at 4 o'clock Central Standard Time. But, you know, they say things happen in threes. Anthony Selestow already with 2 losses in this event, albeit one of the most impressive wins in the history of this sport.
Wow.
Anthony telling me yesterday, Dave, that, you know, don't take anything away from Aaron Garner, but he just couldn't get anything going off the back wall against Aaron. He felt like he had a lot of opportunities off the back wall and just wasn't able to put them away. Emmett, of course, coming off a very spirited match against Naughty. Both guys playing really well. Emmett happy with the way he played, just Naughty too hot at the end. I believe, Dave, these guys very similar. Anthony almost like a young Emmett. I think both guys hit the ball better with their left hand than their right. Both guys are extremely quick and athletic. The teen heartthrob, of course, Dave, a 3-sport star growing up. Football, baseball, and handball.
1-play-1.
Look at that get. Great play from Anthony, Dave. A lot of guys don't expect that ball to come back. They hang in the back court. Anthony expecting Emmett to track that time. He waited in front of the football line for the easy fly kill.
Selestow's mad at himself. He hit it right back at himself, but high.
Well, he didn't get himself in a good position to hit that kill shot. He was lunging instead of taking a half a step up. Anthony, Dave, has a handball court in his house. He and his brother Blaze spar against each other quite a bit. Blaze is also a tremendous player, Dave.
I'd like to see him at one of these stops, because I think he has potential as well. And there's another beautiful left-handed kill shot from Anthony Selestow, now serving 3-1. This is a 1-game format to 25, which,
well, Blaze is basically, Dave, Anthony, but about 6 inches taller, just as good looking. They call him the Cougar heartthrob.
Okay. To TCH.
That's right.
Okay.
This is just what I hear. I mean, I'm just a reporter. Of course, not the reporter, not the WPH correspondent, but a reporter. Okay. Just to make that clear. Oh, a great serve there from Anthony. Dave, that's the serve. I know you didn't have a chance to see it, but that's the serve he hit against Sean Lenning twice at 21-23, consecutive aces to tie the score.
Now 5-1 is Selestow.
Emmett telling me earlier, Dave, that he's had some back problems over the last month. He's been working it out with some hip flexor and quad stretches. Said it's just mostly tight.
5-3-1. Short. Second serve.
Really good crowd on here, Dave. On hand, I should say.
It's just too bad the cameras can't see what we see. And that is people trying to view into this court here, and it's hard to do. Nice behind the back left-handed shot from Anthony Selestow. Emmett tries a power with a 2-all pass. Doesn't hit it.
You consider that just nice? That was one of the most amazing pickups I've ever seen.
Anthony trying to get a screen at the end of that play, and he didn't get it from the referee. I guess his play didn't earn it. I was trying to see through all the people.
And here it is, Dave.
You were watching.
Look at that. That's just absolutely amazing.
Well, with the left hand, that makes it even more hard.
Well, I find it almost impossible to go behind the back with your strong hand. The triceps are a lot stronger in your strong arm, therefore making it more difficult to backhand or go behind the back. That was something, Dave, that Vern Roberts explained to me years ago.
I have underdeveloped triceps, so it's easier for me.
I noticed that you're only benching about 410 now, so I could see that.
5-2 score here.
Short.
And a short ball. Referee is Victor Perez.
Second serve.
Oh, I like that little shovel. And if you're going to catch one of these elite players, that's the way you're going to have to do it. And that ball hits Anthony right in the back of the head. He makes a mistake on that previous shot. He had Emmett in the back. He decided to power pass it when Emmett was standing right there.
Well, Dave,
5-2.
I think Anthony should have gone with a fist punch, the same shot but with the fist, because the shovel wasn't quite hard enough to get out of Emmett's reach. You see Sean Lenning use that fist punch drive quite a bit. This is the first ever race event we haven't seen Sean Lenning at least twice. Didn't see him at all.
Well, there's a bit of controversy and spirited arguments back at the headquarters of the WPH regarding this 13 through 16 and who gets paid, who doesn't get paid. And I guess the concept was if one of these qualifier losers go in and defeat a 1 through 4, that they do get a big payday and they do get a lot of press. And certainly Anthony Selestow got a lot of press and he got a lot of money. And poor Sean Lenning sat back and had one of the smallest paydays of his pro career.
Well, also, Sean Lenning was not able to play in those 9 through 12 playoffs because it's a 4-person playoff, and he would have made 5. 5's a crowd.
So his tournament was over.
You know, Dave, as tournament organizers, you hope that one of those 9 through 12 guys just said, you know what, I don't want to play in the playoffs. Then you could have just sort of snuck Sean in there. It would have been a seamless transition, but in fact, all those guys want to play, including Dave, 45-year-old John Bike, who's already played 8 matches this weekend. I saw Dave John Bike writhing in pain on the ground in his very first match of this week with back spasms, and yet he's played 7 matches since then, winning a lot of them, including dismantling Chip Morales this morning. Chip actually announcing his retirement. And Dave, those are official on the WPH. I know, Dave, you know at casinos you can put yourself on the ban list, and you're not allowed to come back into that casino for 1 year's time. It's actually a crime if you come back in. On the WPH, if you announce your retirement, that's binding for 1 year, which means Chip is now out of Alaska. He's out of any remaining WPH sanctioned events. I believe, Dave, he can still play in tournaments such as the Eugene Weekender, perhaps the Waif Reisner.
Spring Classic.
I think he can play in those.
KCAC
now,
3-wall.
if the WPH sanctions one of those tournaments, can he then still play, or is it he just can't play in the race events.
Race events.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he will be
It was a race
eligible.
announcement.
He will be eligible then to play in the Wave Reisner,
Check ball.
where he took 8th place last year.
3.6.
I see, Dave, that you're taking a different approach with me and your hope of my retirement. Instead of prodding it, you're just kind of
I
hoping
figured there was more
letting
to
it happen.
I figured there was more to the story. Thought I would let it play itself out, but I don't have to facilitate every single complete downfall of yourself. I just like to see it develop in real time. This
Right.
is life's reality, sports. Figured it would just happen on its own.
6.3.
Anthony's playing very well right now. Certainly a lot better than he played yesterday in that round of 8 thrashing that he took at the hands of the other bombshell. That's a great shot. And you see Anthony using his left there, Dave, from the right side of the court, something that you'd see Emmett do. Still surprised, though, about that result against Aaron Garner last night. Anthony plays against guys that hit the ball hard. He plays against Mike Munson and his brother Blaze Selestow, and
7.3.
beat Sean Lenning, who's the hardest hitter on the tour. Yet just didn't seem to have any answers for Aaron.
Aaron's an unorthodox player, and I know Sean Lenning is too, but Sean left his balls up for Anthony to pass and kill, and Aaron didn't. He kept Anthony off balance, and
I don't think we have any line
it also
judges.
shows you what power can do.
Well, I agree with you, Dave. Aaron Garner is a very unorthodox player. He slows the game down and then all of a sudden starts blasting missiles at 85 miles per hour. I've played Aaron a number of times, and I know you have as well.
1 minute.
He can play a small man's game, but then he can also play
10-3.
a ground and pound style, and he seems to be able to vary his style, keep you off balance. But right now, Dave, Anthony looks great. He's up 9-3. Emmett has just caught his first timeout. Emmett has been grabbing his back just a little bit here in the last couple of rallies. He told me that his back has been hurting him. You know, it's very hard to say. His swings don't look any different, but you know, he's not really putting the ball down, although Anthony's not giving him a lot of opportunities yet either.
Well, Anthony is playing very similar to the way Emmett plays when Emmett's charged up, and you see that Emmett's leaving his balls up in the air and Anthony's putting his down, and that's the slight difference right now. But I see Emmett maybe wanting to slow this game down and go to the roof. He hasn't tried that style yet. He's trying to play this ground and pound with Anthony. It's not working. Maybe we'll see Emmett go back up to the roof again and do some more methodical, slow stuff because, well, frankly, he hasn't done it yet with Anthony, and I believe he can get some points off it that way. Or that Emmett that we saw yesterday against Noddy, the one that would do the lob serve and then the power overhand tomahawk, that very aggressive Emmett, which is more of the style that Aaron Garner had. Maybe possibly we could see that Emmett come out as well. So it's either going to be the soft or the hard one.
Well, the difference is Emmett served Anthony the lob serve, and Anthony's taken that serve right back to the ceiling and put Emmett into that back left corner. So Emmett hasn't had the opportunity to hit that overhand spike back down to the right. Anthony is hitting the traditional return of the lob serve that goes back to the roof, as opposed to Noddy, who is just tapping the ball back to Emmett and giving Emmett the opportunity to hit the overhand spike.
All right, resuming play. 10 plays 3. Short. Second serve.
And a terrible serve there from Anthony coming out of the timeout. that was a great rally. Both guys with chances.
But you know, Dave, Anthony has a problem that he needs to work on, and that is that he sends a lot of balls right back down the middle. And whether it's going straight down the middle or into a corner across the middle of the court, and sometimes I think he's aiming for something that's just too perfect. He needs to get away from those corner pass shots that just come right out to the middle of the court.
Well, Anthony makes a lot of great gets, but he doesn't do a lot with the ball when he makes those gets, particularly when he's on his back foot. He doesn't seem to have a fist to reset the rally to the ceiling or a three-wall wraparound. You see a lot of guys, Dave, when they're pushed back, float that ball into the side wall and hit a three-wall wraparound that enables them to get back into the point. He just kind of throws the ball up to the middle of the front wall.
Now you see a different Emmett in here.
Well, Dave, I think Emmett plays his best ball when he is power serving, gets him into more of a groove, gets him a little bit more intense. Sometimes, Dave, when you serve the lob serve, your game becomes a little bit lethargic. You know, your mind's not thinking about being aggressive. Your feet slow down a little bit. You get yourself into that frame of mind of hitting the ball hard, starting the point with a hard serve. Your mentality changes.
10-5.
What was he lifting his hands for there?
He was upset with the shot that he hit. But he could have easily made that pickup, but he'd already distracted himself, taken himself out of the point. Anthony and I, Dave, rooming together this week. He's played 9 hours and 15 minutes of handball. And I've played 8 minutes of handball this week. And if he loses this match, we're going to finish in the same position, tied for 7th.
Well, he was a better player than you this weekend, too.
Yeah, man.
I believe there is a 2-minute glove change here
This is
awarded
actually
by the referee, or maybe a timeout from Anthony Selestow. You can see that Emmett came in with a little bit more fire. Like we said, he's either going to have to pour it on that way, or he's going to have to slow the game down to keep Anthony in the back court. But either way, Emmett came in with the game plan, and he went to that sidearm serve. And I think sometimes early on a Saturday morning like this, after you've kind of had the letdown of losing against one of your arch rivals like Nadi Alvarado, you come in the next day. I know you're charged up for those playoff matches, but some of these other guys are kind of still upset that they didn't make it the previous day. They haven't really focused on these playoffs, Dave. They come in here and they're just not ready until all of a sudden they start losing, and then you see that competitive juices starting to flow.
I agree. It's very difficult to get up, particularly for the first round of the playoffs, if you've had a difficult loss the night before. Now, Anthony is in a different situation because he wants to redeem himself after losing so badly last night that he's excited to be on the court. Emmett, on the other hand, had victory within his grasp and a good shot at the semifinals and the finals, but comes up just short, and that's deflating, and that can take a couple weeks sometimes to get over. But what I like about the playoffs as a player is that even if you don't necessarily want to be there at the outset, once you start to play, that loss starts to evaporate, and you start to focus on what you're doing. It takes a lot of the sting out of it, and also gives you an opportunity to earn some ranking points and some extra cash.
That's true. But really, it helps the player out to play in these playoffs, because when it comes down to seeding time, and it comes to some of these big tournaments, you know, to include the Players' Championship when it comes to the rankings, that you can get an advantage by having a higher ranking. We saw in this tournament there were some players here that it was very difficult for us to seed, or I should say the seeding committee to seed, but they just went off the rankings, and a guy like Anthony Selestow got a better seed because he participated in past events. He should have qualified in this tournament.
Set up. 7 plays 11.
And Anthony with a very lucky shot there. Emmett hit his best serve of the match. Anthony just barely getting his fingertips on it, and it dies flat right in front of Emmett.
11 plays 7.
Anthony, Dave, needs to recalibrate his thinking on his serve. Has to remember that the goal of the serve is to either hit an ace or get an easy return that you can take advantage of. But the majority of serves, Dave, that Anthony hits, he finds himself scrambling on the very next shot. So instead of first striking, he's giving his opponent a chance to strike the serve. And Anthony's just on his heels trying to keep the rally alive.
He doesn't have, Anthony doesn't have to be so defensive up there. He can paddle those balls.
Anthony's got great hands on the front court, Dave. I played Anthony in the last event, and he's got very soft hands. He's able to take balls out of the air with a lot of pace on them
11, play 7.
and put them away.
Both of these guys playing somewhat sloppy handball at the moment.
And you see Anthony, Dave, taking Emmett's return of serve on the run. And a good shot there from Anthony. But Dave, let's watch Anthony when he serves. Immediately when he serves, he backs up to about the restraining line, and he's on his back foot as he's trying to hit the next shot. You want to be able to hit a serve where you can maintain control of the center of the court and hopefully be offensive on your next shot. And this has really been a weakness in Anthony's game, is his second serve. Every second serve he's hit thus far in this match has come off the back wall and given Emmett an opportunity to shoot the ball. It's the last thing you want to do on the serve is give your opponent an offensive opportunity.
Like that.
There it is again. You see Anthony's first shot off his back foot. Now Emmett's made a mistake here, and Anthony takes care of it. But you put so much more pressure on yourself, and you reduce your chances of winning points when your serve is a setup. Nice get from Emmett.
I like that shot right there.
Don't really understand that shot there from Emmett. And here's one of those front wall, back wall shots. Bam, bam, handball.
Well,
right there.
you have to be in shape to play with these guys right now. Though it doesn't look like it on camera, they are having extended rallies every single service.
Emmett's just not able to get himself in position to shoot with his right hand. Tells me that he's not yet comfortable with that right hand. Maybe his right shoulder a little bit sore after a couple of hard matches yesterday. But his feet just aren't in the right position. I think, Dave, that's from nearly 2 years off of not being able to swing properly with his right hand. Because his footwork with his left is flawless. And even there with his right hand, Dave, he's off his back foot. He gives Anthony a huge setup. Anthony has the shot he wants, but puts it in the ground. But you see Emmett with his left hand almost always stepping into every shot. Very rarely with his right hand is he stepping in. And Emmett catches that about 4 inches farther behind him than he needed to. And that's why he puts the ball on the ground. That'll be part of the junior clinic, Dave, that you're teaching today. Instructing the youth. I believe it's called Back Wall by Vincent.
Second serve.
How much these guys are running around.
That's an amazing get there from Anthony.
Anthony is just completely gassed right now.
Yeah. But he does have halftime coming up. He's got to figure out a way to score that 15th point while keeping Emmett out of the service box. Because if you go into halftime with a 15-7 lead and then you get that 3 minutes to rest and recharge, that's quite a bit different than going into halftime at 15-13 or maybe even trailing.
You're watching the WPH Race for 8. This is the 5th through 8th playoff between Emmett Peixoto and Anthony Selestow.
7 play 13. Short.
This would be the semifinals of that 5th place playoff. Guess you can word it like that. Now, what happened in the 9th place playoff bracket, Dave?
It was Abraham Montijo defeating Jonathan Iglesias in the first round, and also John Bike defeating Chip Morales. So it'll be John Bike taking on Abraham Montijo for 9th place.
What time is that match going to kick off?
Well, it was supposed to start at 10, but I'm not sure that there's court space available right now because the Texas State Doubles Championship has started.
See Chip Morales giving lessons in the side court here.
Well, that's what you do when you retire. You teach. So Chip has now become a coach. Chip's actually coaching his opponent, though, right now, which is not at all condescending.
Place 13.
10 to 13.
And remember, Dave, it was 13-7. Anthony with a good chance to take a big lead into halftime. And it seemed like that rally he lost at 13-7 took a lot out of him.
Place 13.
As a player, Dave, and I know, Dave, you had a really good match with...
I think there was enough room.
You had a really good match with Nadia Alvarado last night in the senior race for 8. But you know, trying to get that 15 point feels very much like trying to close out a game. You get that same sort of tension that you would trying to get that 21st point in a traditional game.
Short. Second serve.
And now Anthony has seen that sizable lead evaporate here.
Unbelievable turn of events here. Anthony was in charge, and now he finds himself tied with Emmett. Emmett does look a little different, but Anthony looks like he's just tired, Dave.
I think like most things in life, Dave, it's a combination. And now Emmett just overpowering Anthony. This match, Dave, nearly 30 minutes old, and we have not yet made it to halftime.
In 30 minutes from now, it will be Charlie Shanks versus Alan Garner in the men's semifinals of the Race for 8. Right here on this show court.
Should be a great one.
And I don't know how the people are going to fit in here, because already we can't even see the court. We have to watch on monitors. I mean, it's a distraction, but a good one. All the familiar faces. Houston Handball.
Three minutes.
And Emmett scores 8 consecutive points in the same service inning.
Gonna write that down.
Not only close the gap, but take the lead going into halftime. Similar, actually, Dave, to what Nadia Alvarado did to Emmett yesterday. Emmett led 11-3. Nadia charged back and scored 8 consecutive points. Emmett did take the lead into halftime at 15-12, but really never had control of the match after that 8-point run from Nadia Alvarado.
It was actually 13-6 at one point, and Emmett came onto a 9 straight point run there to bring it to 15-13 here at half. We're going to take a break. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Stick around here at racefor8.com.
You're on your way to meet up with friends, but you can't seem to get anywhere quickly. You don't want your friends to be annoyed, so you text. You're on your way. Five seconds is the average time your eyes are off the road while texting while driving. Make sure you get where you're going.
My name is Bruce Fabrizio. In 1975, I invented Simple Green based on 3 principles. It had to be safer to use, it had to work, and it had to be completely made in America. From generation to generation, Simple Green has been cleaning everything from car engines and tools to kitchen counters and floors. No matter what you clean, indoors or outdoors, clean it with non-toxic, biodegradable Simple Green.
My life is full of statistics. Thing is, I could have dropped out of school and become one myself, but I didn't because I had people that believed in me. Here's another statistic. 7,000 students drop out every school day. That's one every 26 seconds. It's time that students know that we believe in them.
Inspire a student and share your message of support at boostup.org.
Here we go. We're gonna make some juice.
It's gonna be good.
She's excited. A little bit of kale.
Please don't put this on
I'm putting it all over the line.
It's wet. It needs something. No, it'll go.
Don't break my juicer. Looks good.
You ready to try it?
Come on, baby.
Challenge your kids to be active and eat healthy.
It's okay.
Okay, all right.
They might surprise you.
She took another sip. You saw it?
Search We Can for more ideas on how you and your kids can get healthy together.
Ten seconds. Huh? 15-13, yeah. Seventeen. 15-13. Yeah.
Back to the second half. The first round of the 5th through 8th playoffs. Emmett Peixoto now serving. He's on a 9-0 run here going into halftime.
Short.
Anthony Selestow had built a 13-6 lead.
Second
Looks to
serve.
be in control here. But Emmett Peixoto has changed his style just enough. Anthony Selestow seems to have slowed down about a half a step. And now it's Emmett in complete control as he now scores his 10th consecutive point. Anthony, Dave, will be setting another record this week, Dave. We've had so many firsts, and I know that you have them all written down here on your stat sheet, but Anthony will be the first ever Race for 8 pro to lose 3 matches in one tournament. He's lost in every round. He's lost in the qualifier, the main draw, and the playoffs.
Yeah, that is a first.
18-13.
Anthony's doing a lot of retrieving right now. You see, Emmett's just planting his feet and taking his shots, not making the best all the time.
I'm not so sure about that call there.
That's a tough one to replay.
18-13.
Emmett wearing his first star shorts, Dave. They've been just an amazing sponsor of the WPH, outfitting
19-13.
all of our pros. Really watching
That's your second time
their
out. Scores
brand
20-13
grow
in
with
1 minute.
ours.
14 straight points now for Emmett Peixoto here in this playoff match, where Anthony Selestow was completely in charge. Had Emmett changing styles multiple times during that first half, Emmett comes in and finds something that's working, and he's continually just sticking with it. What is that thing that he found? Is it maybe just the fact that Anthony has lost a step?
Well, Emmett's playing with a lot more purpose now. He's driving the ball down the walls. He's asserting himself and starting to dictate play. Anthony has a tendency to go into survival mode when his opponent's in the front court, just starts scrambling and trying to keep the rally alive rather than trying to play offense, dictate the points.
Holding a replay.
But Dave, the first 19 points took 37 minutes. Anthony leading 13-6. Now Emmett has scored 14 consecutive points.
About 7 minutes.
Well, it's been 11 minutes total, including the 3-minute halftime.
Okay.
But yeah, you were close. You didn't know I was including halftime as well.
I still would have been off by a minute.
Well, actually, halftime, Dave, extended to 4 minutes, and Anthony was lucky that he wasn't penalized. The rule book states if you come in late after halftime, it's 1 point per minute. So Anthony could have lost a point there.
I don't think it really matters at this
Well,
point.
I'm not saying if it matters or not. I'm just saying the rules.
Okay.
Second serve.
Because Emmett's about ready to score. And he does. Another consecutive point against Anthony Selestow.
And you can see the life just drained completely out of Anthony. His week started here, Dave, on Wednesday night.
He got a workout that night, and then the next day where he played multiple games of handball, losing in the qualifier final.
I was surprised how hard he pushed himself on Wednesday night, knowing that he had such a big event. He said, hey, it's what I do.
And there is the first point for Anthony Selestow in about 14 minutes, if not more.
15 plays 23.
Emmett Peixoto on a 17-1 run at the moment.
And now Emmett just 1 point
24 game points is 14.
from clinching his spot in the 5th place final against Andy Nett. Remember, Dave, it was Andy Nett defeating Emmett Peixoto at the LAAC, knocking out Emmett in his chances to qualify for the Players' Championship. So you know Emmett will have some revenge on his mind as he takes on the Dreamboat. And that match, Dave, will come to you live later this afternoon following the 2 semifinals and the Cool Junior Clinic. So for David Fink, Dave Vincent, Ashley Moeller, Linda Manning, Chris Garrad, Lolita Vincent, and Jim London. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in about 20 minutes for the first men's semifinals here on the Race for 8.
My name is Bruce Fabrizio. In 1975, I invented Simple Green based on 3 principles. It had to be safer to use, it had to work, and it had to be completely made in America. From generation to generation, Simple Green has been cleaning everything from car engines and tools to kitchen counters and floors. No matter what you clean, indoors or outdoors, clean it with non-toxic, biodegradable Simple Green.
NFC, AFC, offensive linemen, defensive tackles, quarterbacks, and cornerbacks are all living united to ensure the academic success of millions of kids in our communities all the way to graduation day. But that won't happen without you. So take the pledge at unitedway.org. Make a difference in the life of a child. Suit up like your favorite NFL players and become a volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor with United Way.
It's Timothy Green's first day at school.
What's in there? He's about to fall over.
Anything he might need. There's a box of tissues on the bottom and some Band-Aids. There's a whole first aid kit, actually.
Mom, I can handle it from here.
You don't have to be perfect
Have a great day.
That's too much pressure.
Have the day you have.
to be a perfect parent.
There are 2 people in the world who want you more than anything. They'll make some mistakes, but they will love you more than you can ever imagine.
There are thousands of children in foster care. who will take you just as you are.